Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me. Now, as you know, Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me was a television film that was broadcasted on BBC in 21st of February 2004 and was also meant to be a television film based on the story of Tracy Beaker that ran for 5 seasons. And you also had Tracy Beaker Returns, that was a bit like BoJack Horseman, The Dumping Ground, that featured the Dumping Ground Kids, and My Mum Tracy Beaker, which had Tracy Beaker as the role of the mum. Now, for those who don't know, the story of Tracy Beaker is based on a popular series of books by Jacqueline Wilson. And keep in mind, this film is meant to take place between season 3 and 4. And the premise of the film is about how Tracy's planning to go all out on her 13th birthday. And we kind of see how Cam wants to sort of be Tracy's foster mum again. We also see how Crash still tries to be the friend. We also see how like everything in Tracy's life starts to get back into place. Until one day, Tracy's mum Carly returns, and it becomes kind of clear that Carly wants to reconnect with Tracy and wants to play the mum again. And it kind of becomes clear that Carly does want to do it, but kind of neglects or doesn't really think it through. And you can kind of tell Cam, Crash, and even Duke see this as well. And after something that goes wrong, we see how Tracy goes on an all-out journey to find her mum again. And I would say my overview thoughts on the film is that it feels like a proper final. It feels like it does want to wrap things up. And I think what's interesting about the film is that half of the cast don't really return. So when you kind of got Bouncer's brother Lowell not being in it, it kind of makes you wonder what happened to him and some of the other cast members, which implies they either went on a trip or a kind of big journey. And I would say as well, you can tell the film really does want to go beyond its normal budget. As we see Tracy and Nat go into London, we see them go into Castle Court, and so many other places. And I would say the movie has a bit of a message about finding what's still important to you, finding what you want, what's best, and realizing that the people in your life are always going to be there for you than what some others were. And I think what's actually interesting is that the movie does seem to cause a bit of continuity errors, like when Tracy did have flashbacks of her mum back in the first season, we did see her more as still a kid with her, which does kind of make you wonder what's wrong with the continuity. And I think when looking at it, I think, well, season 4 and 5 does try to wrap things up. I think the story, Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me, actually does feel like a proper final. And you can kind of tell they really did wanted to wrap things up, much like Rugrats the movie. And I think, well, Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me, isn't perfect. You can tell they still try to tell a good story. And it's kind of like Ed, and Eddie's Big Picture Show. Given that was a final, they explored beyond their budget, something Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me, did well at. So I think, to me, while Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me isn't perfect, it's still an alright film, despite some issues. So I think it deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of okay, and kind of alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.